As the US continues to advance its controversial plan for Gaza, President Donald Trump recently met with King Abdullah of Jordan to discuss the proposal, which aims to resettle Gaza's nearly 2 million residents. The plan has sparked widespread condemnation across the Arab world and beyond, with Egypt firmly rejecting any forced displacement of Palestinians. Internationally, the proposal has been criticized for violating international law and potentially undermining the Palestinian cause. With Gaza's future hanging in the balance, what are the true motivations behind such a Palestinian cause if the plan moves forward? Welcome to In Depth. With regard to Egypt's vision for reconstructing Gaza, Egypt Today has reported that on Tuesday, the head of the Egyptian Engineers Syndicate instructed the formation of a specialized advisory committee of experts dedicated to Gaza's reconstruction. The committee's mandate includes developing a comprehensive reconstruction plan based on international standards in planning, engineering, and execution, aiming for maximum efficiency and effectiveness. The news outlet also reported that the committee will explore opportunities to expand Egypt's role in the reconstruction efforts, taking into account the potential interests of various international and regional parties in participating. These directives from the syndicate comes as Egypt announced on Tuesday its plan to present a comprehensive reconstruction proposal for the Gaza Strip, ensuring that the Palestinian people remain on the land in accordance with their legitimate and legal rights. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump's meeting with Jordan's King Abdullah comes at a critical juncture as Washington proposes a controversial plan for Gaza's future. The plan, which involves the forced displacement of Palestinians, has sparked widespread condemnation both regionally and internationally.
President Trump and King Abdullah of Jordan met at the White House to discuss the American proposal concerning Gaza, a plan reportedly aimed at forcibly displacing nearly 2 million residents of Gaza. This controversial idea has sparked widespread opposition, both regionally and internationally. Egypt has strongly rejected the plan, emphasizing that any just resolution to Gaza's crisis must prioritize the protection of Palestinian lives and rights. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry also stressed that Egypt plans to present a comprehensive reconstruction proposal for Gaza while ensuring Palestinians' right to remain in their homeland. Similarly, Jordan has reaffirmed its strong opposition to any forced displacement of Palestinians, underscoring its commitment to their rights and sovereignty. The United Nations has condemned the plan, calling it a form of ethnic cleansing and warning of its grave implications. Arab countries, united in opposition, have stressed that any lasting solution must uphold Palestinian rights and sovereignty, making it clear that displacement would not only violate international law, but also severely undermine the Palestinian cause. The U.S. proposed displacement schemes carry far-reaching consequences for long-term peace in the region. If implemented, such a plan could set the Palestinian cause back decades, further diminishing the prospects for a just and lasting resolution.
Well, welcome back. And moreover, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned on Tuesday that Israel would end the Gaza ceasefire if Hamas fails to return the detainee as scheduled this weekend. As highlighted by the Washington Post, Netanyahu further stated that he had ordered the Israeli occupation forces to mobilize inside and around the Gaza Strip. His comments followed US President Donald Trump's warning that Hamas must release all remaining detainees by noon on Saturday, or all bets are off. According to the ceasefire agreement reached last month, 3 detainees were scheduled for release from Gaza on Saturday. However, Hamas announced it would delay the release until further notice due to Israeli ceasefire violations. Well, for more analysis, we're joined from New York by Ahmed Maharem, the writer and political analyst, and from Ramallah by Mr. Omar Al Ghul, member of the Central Council of Palestinian Liberation Organization. Good afternoon to you both, gentlemen, and welcome to Qnews. Let me start with Mr. Maharem. And the United States has doubled down on its plan for displacing Gaza's population. Now, how do you view the Arab states' unified rejection of this proposal?
I think Mr. President Trump is trying to push as much as he can. He reconsider what is his thoughts for the future of Gaza, and it shows to him and to the international leader that there's a big rejection from Arab countries, number one, Egypt, Jordan, and also international rejections from European countries, Germany, France, China, Russia. Let us say yesterday the press conference between King Abdullah of Jordan and the President Trump was clearly showing that Trump still trying to push all the parties to achieve what he has as a dream from his side in order to serve the objections of Benjamin Netanyahu to give the platform that Gaza can be reconstructed while the Palestinian has to be removed somewhere else. I think the Arab rejection was very clear, and I think King Hussein was in a very critical situation during this kind of press conference, and his answers to those sometimes silly questions was addressed that we have to consider that we are partner in the ideas, Egypt and Jordan, and let us set the conclusion of Arab answer to this situation by the upcoming conference will take place in Cairo on the 27th of February. I think the matter of detainees and what Mr. Trump is saying about Saturday noon, if all the detainees will not be released, the fire will be open again to the area. Mm-hmm. I assume that it's all kind of a pressure from his side and from Benjamin side as well. But I hope something will happen different. I think there is different messages from Egypt. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdul Ati, for the last few days, he is in Washington. I think President Sisi has different opinions. It shows like he may not be coming to meet President Trump next Tuesday in the White House.
Remains to be seen, of course. Mr. Al Ghul, the U.S. insists on displacing Palestinians from Gaza. But from your point of view, what impact could this have on the quest for a two-state solution, particularly that this has been very much emphasized by all the world organizations and definitely initiatives, Arab initiatives at large?
First of all, good afternoon to you and to your dear guest from the US, and to the viewers, of course. Certainly what is being proposed by President Donald Trump is highly serious and dangerous, and it directly targets not only the two-state solution or the independent Palestinian state, it also targets the Arab Palestinian people and their existence as a principle on their territories and its political future it targets relocating the youth population from its own territories, taking away their historical identity for a new Nakba. And during the press conference yesterday with the King Abdullah II in Washington in the White House, he also affirmed that there will be annexation to the West Bank in the near future. So it's not just now about Gaza, but also it will also be about the annexation of the West Bank. And as you have seen, the ongoing genocide operations in the West Bank, in Jenin, and in the Jenin camp, and Tulkarm, and all the affiliated camps. We have seen it in Tobas, in Tamun, and many other villages in different governorates all over Palestine, most prominent of which Jerusalem, the capital. Now Trump is targeting the Palestinian existence, and he is trying to impose on the brothers from the Arab world in Egypt and Jordan to allocate pieces of land to displace the Palestinians and create homes on on Egyptian and Jordanian lands. But the unwavering Egyptian stance, stressed by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and the Egyptian leadership, stresses that Egypt will not accept such process, whatever the price or the cost was. This is not a new position from Egypt, and it's not only because of the Trump statements. This position was adopted by the Egyptian leadership after the 7th of October 2023, when Netanyahu proposed the forced displacement of Palestinians. Egypt stood very still, as well as Jordan, against these claims. And here we can also praise the positive stance by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which announced that it rejects any kind of forced displacement and going to the political solution, in addition to providing humanitarian aid with a sustainable flow, also starting the reconstruction efforts in the Gaza Strip and going to the political solution and the independence of Palestine, which was only stressed by Cairo with two plans, not only one plan, to the Gaza reconstruction, with the Palestinian population remaining on their lands. And consequently, this Arab position, which should be embodied in the Arab Summit on the 27th of February, where the summit is supposed to be held by the Cairo invitation in coordination with Bahrain and Palestine and many other Arab states who responded to this very important invitation. And I hope that this summit finds the due success, corresponding with the current challenge and putting an end to the idea of displacing the Palestinian population.
Right. Mr. Maharim, Egypt's constant position was firmly rejecting the displacement plan. That, of course, is part and parcel of its leading role as an Arab mediator and supporter for the rights of Palestinians since the war started. Now, what role can Egypt and other Arab countries play at this upcoming stage in safeguarding the continued existence of the Palestinians in Gaza, and what do you think their strategy would be?
Well, I think not only we as Arab in the area, but all international leaders and citizens of those countries are very astonished from the way Mr. Trump is dealing with that crisis in the Middle East, and he would like to achieve something on the benefit of the both people, the Israeli and Palestinians. Is Mr. Trump consider the matter from his view as he is the president of the United States of America, the most important country in the world, member of United Nations and Security Council, that's one side, or he consider the whole thing that he's a still developer for real estate and he is looking for this piece of land. It was demolished, 90% was demolished because of the Israeli power. But he did not ask himself or Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, who was responsible to make the situation looks like that. I think the Arab countries, Egypt and Jordan Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, has a lot of very, very important PowerPoints in that expected Conference 27. They have to show, I think, and they have a plan to show America that this is real time, the historical relation between America from one side and all Arab countries from the other side, that we have a very strong point to defend on. We are ready, Egypt consider that, and he's talking about it so many times. We are ready as Arab countries to reconstruct, Gaza, under the condition that there is no misplaced for those people. They will be remaining on the area, on the land. It was destructed by Israel, but there is a capability and the kind of understand that the rebuild of the Gaza again can be done with the help and the contribution from all other countries, while Palestinians will not be pushed to go somewhere else. I think that may be one of the main tasks the Arab leaders are considering to talk about in the 25th. I think at that time, when Trump administration will see something different, different answer, strong kind of reaction, that may make Trump to do something different. And
already there have been very, very strong declarations and statements by the Egyptian Foreign Ministry up till this minute, the latest of which was yesterday. If I may ask you, Mr. Al Ghul here, the United Nations has condemned the idea of forcibly displacing Palestinians. Now, how far do you think this goes with the international law? And do you think the international community can effectively prevent this plan, even if it is illegal or goes against the backdrop of the international law, or what do you think? What do you have on that?
Well, first, we should stress that the United Nations position, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, and the entire UN bodies and international organizations and different other states and political elites, parliaments in the United States of America rejected such plans and considered wrong. Even Graham Lindsay, who's a senator from the Republican Party and a friend of Trump, rejected the idea and considered it a crazy idea. So there is a consensus, an international worldwide consensus to reject such a plan.
But my question here, it is very well known that it is against all the international law, and that was admitted by or regionally and internationally. But will the international community be able to implement that or prevent such plans on the ground?
Yes, what is required first from the Palestinian people and the Palestinian leadership to unify their efforts and breach the gaps, to dedicate all efforts to the territorial integrity of Palestine, ruling out Hamas from the scene so that the PLO and the Palestinian state can actually assume the ruling of Palestine, because they are the only legitimate entity and legal entity to rule Palestine, including the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. We can also see the international position and the Arab stance that will be expressed during the next summit to take a serious position and not only be a condemnation to the plan, but also reject this plan with the Arab strength and power cards, especially that the agreements with Israel should be in exchange for rejecting that plan. It should be placed against rejecting the displacement and going to the political solution to the Palestinian cause and the independence of Palestine. And also we have the weapons of oil and petroleum and the cash revenues as the strategic position, the strategic location, and the U.S. military bases, a lot of common interests that are of great interest to the U.S. and to Israel. These cards alone that can be influential to impact the U.S. stance and would actually promote the international community steps to reject the displacement plan and to reject the operations happening on Gaza and the West Bank. The world should assume their responsibility and to reject the extremist ideas of President Trump. He is threatening the entire world. He is not only threatening Palestine and the Gazan population, he targeted Canada and he targeted Mexico and Panama, Denmark and Greenland. We have seen him threatening the European Union, China, Russia, and all states worldwide. He is a threat posed to the entire world and even the destiny of the United States of America, as President Trump is practicing an internal coup on the Americans themselves through the immigration file, the military file, the U.S. aid issue, the United States for Development Organization, and a lot of other relevant issues that are directly connected to the democratic American reality. And I think that the U.S. citizens themselves have a great interest to put an end and a limit to the crazy ideas of President Trump, to pressure the United States of America and stop such unethical deterioration that contradicts with the basic principles of the international law and the humanitarian international law.
Right, let me get here to Mr. Maharim. And Mr. Maharim, from your point of view, what is the position of the international law on forcibly displacing civilians? And I'm speaking here about the United Nations Charter that concerns this particular point regarding the genocide and the displacement, sovereignty, and this part of the article, and definitely regarding all resolutions that came out of the United Nations and all of that reference.
Definitely, the international law will be against what Mr. Trump is trying to achieve. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has a very strong statement. He condemned what Mr. Trump is trying to reach. The General Assembly has 193 countries, there is five U.S. Security Council. There is five already big countries have the right of the veto, and some other 10 countries are renewal every 2 years. Sometimes Egypt was taking place for a couple of years ago. Kuwait, Emirates, I think Algeria now is. International leaders, I think they will somehow try to push and to be on the side of what Secretary General is trying to do. For the last 3 weeks since Trump was in White House, there is so many big number of executive orders. Some of them actually make kind of
briefly, Mr. Maharim, because we're running out of time. Mr. Maharim.
Yes, will be against this idea, and somehow Trump will not be able to achieve it under any circumstances.
Right. That was Mr. Ahmed Maharim, the writer and political analyst, and Mr. Omar Al-Ghul, member of the Central Council of Palestine Liberation Organization. Thank you so much for being with us and for your insights. I guess that brings us to the end of today's episode of In Depth. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up on Qnews.